Yeah, and you might not want to end up in Tijuana, especially
Right.
nowadays.
No. Well, all these different plans and strategies are imperative because that's kind of the path of least resistance. That's what you want.
Correct.
I mean, do you want to take 6 years to make $1 million and 90-hour work weeks, or do you want to do it in, less than a year and working 30 or 40 hours a week? If you don't plan for it properly, you're just not going to get it.
No, that's very true. It's very true. And it's in the least, I would say that when you have a plan, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, even though it may not preordained, so to speak, everything that's going to happen. At least you kind of have an idea of where you're going. And so,
Right.
when those pitfalls come along, you kind of expected that they're going to be there. It may not be the exact pitfall you were expecting, but at least you knew that there was something coming, and you're sort of aware of it. And that at least takes a lot of the pain out of it, because you're expecting something and you're able to anticipate. And being able to anticipate is really key in business. Is that something's coming, so you're ready for it.
Right, absolutely. Because I'm not a huge risk taker, but I'm a calculated risk taker. There's a big difference between the two of those. The risk taker is the one that's kind of flying by the seat of their wings, and they're just hoping for the best. But the calculated risk taker is one who's already done a kind of a cost-benefit analysis, and no matter how long they're short that is, it's way more beneficial. Chances of failure are less.
Yeah, that's very true. So what do you think maybe some of the most common reasons are, though, that entrepreneurs are giving up or even failing in their endeavors?
I would say probably the number one reason is that they go into business trying to sell someone that they like. So what I mean by that is they're trying to sell a product or service that they think is awesome. However, if the market does not agree with you, they will not buy from you. That's just how it is. Like, you might really think that whatever it is that you do, your product is the best thing out there. It's way better. It's cheaper. It's, everything is great about it. But if your customers in your market don't agree with you and they still think that that's true, it doesn't matter if your product really is better, if your service is cheaper. It doesn't matter, because you have to have some sort of market and, supply and demand. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people get caught up in, is they think, okay, well, I'm going to start, let's say, for example, I'm going to make organic soap or something. Well, that market's very saturated. The demand is out there for it, but are you doing it the way that the customers like it? And are you presenting it in a way that the customers will demand it? And, if you don't think about this beforehand, you do no customer market analysis and research, you're going to fail a lot quicker than someone who is way more prepared and knows what the market wants and knows where the gap is.
Sure. And and that kind of brings in the element of it's also location and timing with that same thing, because you could have the next best greatest mousetrap if there's not any mice, but your neighbor has mice, so one place might be a good location for it, whereas the next place is not a good location for it. And so it's just doing that that R&D to make sure that you know exactly where you need to be selling it and having that correct product, because you're correct. The number one reason of failure is not having a sellable product in the right industry or in the right location.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a great idea. It could be a very brilliant idea. It's just you have to have the right place and the right time.
Right.
So what would be maybe some of the roadblocks that you've encountered that you would warn somebody about that's getting into business?
One of the roadblocks that I've come into and I'm working on overcoming is finding that spot, that one break-even point, I'll call it, of the transition, that if you work a full-time job, which like 90% of the entrepreneurs that start off do, because they need to be able to pay the bills while they build their business. So finding that spot and knowing where it's at, that you can walk away from that job and transition right into your business is key. It's optimal, because if you do it too soon and you're like right off the bat, if you say, all right, today I'm going to open up a pet supply store, and you do it, well, you may not have enough revenue or anything to start off with, and you're going to fail very quickly.
Sure.
Whereas if you wait too long, you might be stalling your business and making it grow much slower or even decline it when it should be growing much faster. So there's kind of that middle break-even point of finding when that is. And that takes planning beforehand to consider, okay, what would I consider something that's reasonable that I can make per year? What benefits do I need to have? And is that going to be a spot that I can keep going for a long time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Are there maybe also some resources that you've encountered that helped you along the way that you could point out to people?
I would say the biggest thing is hopping onto social media and connecting with like-minded people, getting to know other entrepreneurs that are similar, talk to people that are doing different products, similar products. It's kind of getting to know a good social group to say, okay, well, what are other people's experiences? What can I find out that I should be doing, or what should I be watching out for? I think that's really helpful. A lot of people try to go it their own, and they won't realize the success that they could have otherwise. And that's what happened with me when I first started, almost 2 years ago. I did it completely on my own. I figured I knew it all. I got this, right? My business didn't grow very big. It stayed pretty small. And then I took a few months off, and I decided, I'm going to take some time to think about what do I need to do to actually make this a real business? What do I need to do to make this be very legitimate, credible, and demanded in the market? And I tested the waters with social media, and that was the thing that changed it for me. It was connecting with other people on social media. If it's done right, it will grow your business, and you will become a lot more knowledgeable on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, there's so many, just take Facebook and for example, there's so many groups in Facebook or even LinkedIn. There are all these different groups are there that you can find a group that is your ideal your ideal market and be part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that particular interest is not maybe one of your favorite interests, if that's what your customer's favorite interest is, be part of the group. Be in there and
Right.
look and listen, and those opportunities will come up to where you can add value, and then that will attract people to you because that then they are looking for what you have, and you're able to provide some
Right.
value there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And when I say you go into these social media groups, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, you got to be active in it too. Because if you just sit back in the nosebleeds and the high stands, you're never going to get anything out of it. And no one's going to know who you are either. You're just going to be another face in the crowd. So you've got to be active on there, providing some value so people come to you.
Yeah. Just as with the networking that may be in your local area, you go to a networking group once or twice. People they see you, but they don't know you and trust you yet. So it might be 6 months or a year of attending that particular meeting before they decide, okay, this person's been around. They're not just one of those fly by night kind of people. They've been around. They have some solidarity to their business. I kind of like what they had to say. Now I'll give them a chance, and I want to talk to them. So it won't happen that way, but you keep at it, and the more they see you and the more they hear from you, then eventually the more they will trust you.
Absolutely.
So as far as personal values and belief systems, that's kind of an area that some people avoid, but I personally I jump right in with that one. How would you say that your values and belief systems play a role in your business though, and how would you encourage someone else to to either incorporate them or avoid incorporating them?
Sure. So I keep a lot of my personal beliefs and out of business. I don't like to mix the personal beliefs with business, but I do incorporate ethics and my morals and my values, which are different than your personal beliefs. So like, for example, like I said, I like to educate my clients or prospective clients. Well, that's being honest and truthful with those people to explain to them exactly what is going to happen with their actions for tax purposes or for accounting. So I like to be very open and honest with people, and I'm generally that way anyway, and I'm also generally very friendly to people. So I bring that along with my business. I don't like to play hardball with people or any other of my competitors. I've never really been that way where I like to try to force people out of my business. That way I could be the only one around and create a monopoly. I've never been like that for any other activity either. So I bring my ethics and values more so than I do my personal beliefs. And the reason why I don't bring in my personal beliefs, and it's not because they're extreme on either side, it's just that people, especially on social media, take offense very quickly to anyone's personal belief. It doesn't take very much. You could say something that sounds very innocuous and innocent, but to someone it might not, and then the next thing you know, you have a problem. So I keep my personal beliefs out of my business.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. What's something that, maybe earlier in life, now granted you're pretty young, so there's not a whole lot of earlier in life since you're still there, but what are some things maybe that you wish you had done before that you did not do, that perhaps you now are kind of looking back and thinking, maybe I should have done that, or should have done that quicker, or what have you?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's a good question. I think maybe my choice on what I did when I was in the military would have been different. Just because it took a lot longer to get where I'm at now than it probably could have otherwise. And it's not because the military stopped me from getting there. I chose to be a military police officer. So I was thinking I was going to be a cop when I got out of the Army, and I did try to pursue that, and I decided not to do that and switched over to accounting instead. So I guess maybe when you're younger, it's nice to think about, okay, well, this is what's going to be fun and exciting to do. But you also have to consider at the time, okay, well, is that going to get me anywhere further in my life? Because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know how I wanted to do it. So I think thinking about that early on and thinking, okay, well, what do I really want to do? What's going to actually make money? What's actually going to provide a good, life for myself? And can I actually do it? I think thinking about that would have been more beneficial, would have got me there sooner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I kind of fell in the same boat. Not necessarily by choice, but being a combat medic, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be in medical. Eventually go into probably surgical direction and so forth. But just the stuff that I saw, it was kind of enlightened me to what medicine really was, and I discovered, through that probably was not, not where I wanted to ultimately end up. Because not that I couldn't do it, but I just found that I couldn't separate, the emotion from the patient. And that was kind of a difficulty for me. So
sure,
I kind of discovered different situation, but sort of the same outcome, that the course I chose ultimately didn't have a direct benefit. Now granted, there were some benefits there, and I'm sure that you've seen that as far as disciplinary benefits and mindset things in service that you've been able to tap into. But a direct tie of these years of doing this duty didn't necessarily carry over. I can totally see that. And that kind of leads me to the next question I have is, when you were transitioning out of the service, what particular difficulties or hurdles did you have to overcome during that transition?
Okay, yeah, I think the biggest hurdle is that when you're in and you're on your way out, you always hear that people are ready to hire vets. They love it. Most people are super pro veteran stuff. And I don't think that that's entirely true, because I had a tough time finding even a really low paying job. When I got out, I only made $9 an hour working like 20 hours a week. That doesn't really, that's not going to pay any bills or anything like that. So we struggled financially for a while when I first got out. Because I worked, when I was in the Army, I was a military police officer. I did a tour in Afghanistan. I did undercover drug work for 2 years. I did 2 years of law enforcement operations, and I get out to go work $9 an hour as a loss prevention officer at Macy's. Like, it doesn't compare. It's not equivocal. So I think that illusion that people have, thinking that, oh man, I'm going to be set, I'm going to be fine when I get out. No, that's not true at all. And it's not because people don't like veterans or they don't like the military. It's just they don't care.